This is Volkswagen's ID4. It's the first time we've seen one really in the metal. You can see proportion-wise, it's not exactly a small car, is it? It's quite a big thing. In the pictures, it looks quite ordinary, but really, when you see it in the flesh, it's a big machine. Right on the money as usual from Volkswagen. It's exactly what the market desires, that kind of SUV size car, that kind of big, large family runabout. That's exactly what they've got here. This is the ID first edition, so there's 20-inch alloys on this one. There's lots of options on this one. This is actually a left hooker as well, so I'm going to be driving on the other side of the car, on the other side of the road. Confusing, but we'll work it out in a few minutes. What we're going to do is have a little tour around the car first on the exterior and see what they've done here, and then we're going to have a drive around and a look at the interior as well. So join me for this review. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, because you're the reason I'm here with a brand new car. So as I said, it's big. It's very big, actually. So I'm going to use my little camera here to get you up close and personal. And a couple of little touches I want to start off with. One is, these aren't door handles to pull out. They've got a little electric sensor in there that you touch and the car opens. So you don't pull these handles. So no chance of it getting frozen, which is the thing about modern day electric cars or modern day cars in general. The little word Volkswagen just appears in here. Some things will obviously change on the car maybe you buy. This is the first edition. As I said earlier, these are 20-inch alloys, 255, 45 or 20, so quite big alloys. And then you have what looks like a fuel tank is normal, but it's actually a Type 2 and then CCS connection in here as well. Some little interesting information here tells you what way the flash pattern is going to be, to tell you how long it's going to be charging for. But I like the fact that Volkswagen have kept that as just a fuel gauge or fuel tank looking panel on the outside, like it does with every other car. Quite a nice little touch. Also waterproof. As you can see, there's a little glove here that fits over this whole thing, so you don't get any water in there when it's sealed up tight. On the back of the car, you got these little kind of matrix lights, these lights that are here. Very tasty looking lights, those on the back of the car. Really has this light bar strip across here as well. I'll cut to some footage of that. ID.4 written on the back. The license plate is, as always, WOB when it comes to Volkswagen, but electric tailgate, obviously. They've got an electric tailgate. Very big boot. As you can see, I've got all my camera equipment strewn across the back of this car. There's still tons of room in here. Split level boot. This gets up higher. You got little rails here as well. You got shopping bag hooks. Of course, Volkswagen thought of all the usual stuff that they need to think of. There's a 12-volt socket in the boot here. And you have the Extendo tow hitch, which is also here. There is a tow hitch in this car. Yes, there is. This is an electric car, but it's a tow hitch car. You can actually tow things with it. You put that away with a button in the boot, as you can see up here. So I press that, and that unlocks it. And then you just push away with your toe, up underneath. Done, dusted. Isn't that nice? Convenient. Electric tailgate obviously can be closed from here. Very quiet. Good reassuring sound. Another sound I want to draw your attention to is the sound of doors closing. Listen to that. Could you get any more refined? Shut lines are absolutely spot on. Alright, we'll have a look at the interior in a minute. Big wing mirrors, really big ones. Then around the front, it planes up a little bit, I think. I think it's a little bit plain here in the front, but that's okay because that's an efficient thing. It's all about being efficient. Air vents and stuff on the front here, which actually show through to the back. So they go straight through into the wing here. Reason for that is it creates a cushion of air around the outside of the wheel when they're driving. That cushion of air has helped efficiency. And then you have the front of the car as well, which still looks very tasty, I think. Very ID looking, so it looks like an ID3 on the front of the car as well. Now, that's the exterior. Overall, I love the exterior. It's very tasty. It's a big car. There's a full family in here. And now we're going to see how the family fits. For that, I have to actually go around the driver's side of the car, which is over there, not over here. Weird, that, isn't it? I love the door handle. Can I just point out, Volkswagen, I really like the door handle. I love that little touch sensor thing. It's very nice. Anyway, moving inside, it feels like the ID3 in here. It feels the same size. Very reassuring thud from everything in the car. It feels like the ID.3, so the same sort of little dashboard appears up here, the small sensitive dashboard thing. Then you have the big touchscreen beside you. This is right now the latest version of the Volkswagen software. Basically finished at this point. There's some refinements and stuff to do. We're still on a first drive basis here, so this is still not pre-production, but it's similar to what you're going to get. There will be another software update coming from that. Just looking at the steering wheel, it's very familiar Volkswagen. Obviously, you've got stereo controls on this side, and then you got your cruise control details on that side. Down here, they've done the same thing with the lights and your rear window dismister, front window dismister, a max for air, and then front window electric demister, and then rear window demister. Attached to that, you've also got electric mirrors down here, and front electric windows. We'll discuss the electric windows in a minute. There's electric windows here in the front with the buttons here, which is fine. You'll see you can control the rear from there. Look, you press the rear if you want the rear, you press the front if you want the front. See, rear. It comes on after a minute. That'll catch up with me in a minute. Anyway, moving across the dashboard, this is good plastics all used here. It's kind of squidgy, as you can see, it's kind of squidgy plastic. And then you have this plastic bar here. You got a full-size glove box. Lots of things in it to do with German stuff. I also, because it's the first one, have a pause and a play button for my pedals. And then the center here, you don't have anything. Just this could be a cup holder if you want to. You do all kinds of things in here. So I'm actually charging some batteries in here, which has a wireless charging tray. There's 2 USB-C ports here. Then a couple of cup holders behind that. It all closes up with a full cover as well. We'll come to the back seat in a minute because there's actually heating controls back there as well. Up here on top, you want to actually go into gear. It's here. It's on the side of this. So put your foot on the pedal and then you press D for go, press that for park, press that for reverse. Reverse obviously activates the rear view cameras, which are all here as well. You can see a 360 camera. This camera is not operational because the door is open on that side. See over there. But then you have the full camera here. So when I turn the steering wheel, you can see it turns where I'm looking to go as well. Actually appears there. So if I do that, see the camera actually begins to look that direction as I go that way as well. See it there? It goes all the way around. Now, also on this car is a towing system. So if I click that, it should be able to move to the towing. So if I do this, it tells me where I'm going to put my trailer. This is trailer assist as well. On an electric car, I'm fascinated by that. That's exactly what we want. You can see that menu goes away when I take my hand away. And if I'm reversing out of a blind junction, it opens up the whole thing as wide as it possibly can. So you can see all around. You've also got cross traffic assist. And then we go back to normal parking area. So it has essentially, Volkswagen, again, being a decent car company, has thought about how it's going to be used as a car, how we're going to manufacture stuff. If I change that, then you can see our heating controls are physical buttons here. So I can touch things to turn the temperature up and down. It's a physical one. Or I can slide my finger along if I want to as well. Volume control is the same. Heating controls on the far side the same. And then you have for menu parking, your climate control. You want to see the whole climate control screen. It's right here. You can have your assist, which you can turn on and off your assistance systems. As you can see here, it's all popped up to see IQ Drive. And then you can go into mode over here on the other side as well, inside Eco Comfort Sport and Individual. Absolutely fascinating stuff from Volkswagen. They've really played with the system. They've really made the system up to date. You can see it looks very like Apple CarPlay. When you're looking at it first, you go, that does like the CarPlay system. You go into vehicle at any point and have a look at what you're doing with the charging systems. That's our status now. It's going to come up on the screen in a second. There we go, service, tire pressure, and it's done 2,133 kilometers. Charging, you can have that. I'm at 50% charged at the moment. It's not fully charged now. Locations wise, you can add a current location. Vehicle, then underneath that, comfort light, tires, headlights. You can sweep across and get more information as you go right through all the list like that. Software is brilliant. I mean, very good. Much cleaner, much tidier, much faster than it was before. You see how fast I'm moving from menu to menu here. That was a bit laggy in ID.3, but now it's bang on. There's also a heads-up display in these, which I really do have a criticism of Tesla for not putting that in their Model 3. There should be a heads-up display. It's not fair to have to look down at the screen to see the speed all the time. You can have augmented reality on the heads-up display, which appears out in front of you. You might be able to see it just out in front there somewhere. Maybe. It's very hard. You have to be at exactly the right angle to be able to see the actual heads-up display all the time. Heated seats are also connected on this. But basically all your physical buttons are either here in front of you that you need on the steering wheel, or there's a few extra over there. Super. I'm hugely impressed by the interior. The best interior I've seen on electric cars in forever, pretty much. It really is well put together. It looks super. Really does look super. Anyway, we're now going to have a look at the back seat, because of course these cars, this car particularly, has to be a good family car. Also, last screen, goodbye, online mode, wipers in service, air conditioning now, or stationary aircon till Thursday 9:30. So you can leave your dog in the car for the air conditioning system as well. Let's look in the back seat. That seat is set for me, and I have enough space in here to fit another whole human between me and the seat in front of me, to be honest with you. Back doors make a good clunk. One thing I forgot to point out in the front seat is there is actually armrests on both seats, so like captain's chairs armrests. We'll do that while we're driving though, it's okay. Back of this seat has a little cover up here so you can put some devices in. You know, you put maybe an iPad, a small iPad in there, or a big mobile phone or something. Then you have another lower one as well, and that's on both seats for the passengers. Also have two USB-C ports here, and then temperature control as well attached for the passengers. Perfectly flat floor in the back. Very impressed by the flat floor. Easily fit a third person here without having to straddle anything. In the centre we have an armrest that has two cup holders in it, and then we have a loader as well. So you can do your ski loaders if you want to carry skis with you, or you just want to go to IKEA. If you ever get outside your 5 kilometre range, you'll let me know what that is. And then the seats themselves, obviously the interior might change depending on the model you're going to pick, but there is tons of room back here. Beautifully brightened by this glass roof, which is perfectly installed. And then to lower the seats here is the same sort of Volkswagen one click, bang, it all drops down, and you have access to the massive seat. If I raise this to here, this would be flat. So you do have a flat floor in this if you want it. And then of course putting the seat back up is just as practical and just as good as Volkswagen always should be. Very nice. Not much to do back here, but that's the same in all back seats. Little coat hangers and things here. It's just a pleasant place, very pleasant little place to be. You'd be happy enough driving a long distance in this. Speaking of which, let's go for a drive. Child locks. Always run into these kind of problems in these cars. Child locks have been put on and I forgot to turn them off before I got in. I'll have to call someone to get out of the car. No, didn't work that. I was something clicked there. Doesn't matter, I'll get out that side. Pardon me while I kick this computer out, or the thing on the way. So this is the ID4, yes. It's about time we got a good old show of that. Actually, when I say ID4, you can see it's just come up here, what would you like to do. Armrests are here as well, by the way, just in case you're wondering about the armrest things. And we're going to go into D, and then we're going to start pulling out of here. No, we're not. Here we go. Now we're... Oh, it lit up there in the front as well.
Please wait a moment. Sorry.
I didn't ask you anything. Thanks very much, though. Very officious. Tell me what to do. You are not.
Sorry,
this is verboten.
unable.
Stop talking. So uptight. Anyway, it gets very uptight because you're being pressing things and doing things. My immediate impression there, coming off the bump of that curb, is that this is a substantial car. You can feel the density of the car. And that's okay, because electric cars are heavier than normal cars and they feel like there's a weight in the back bottom of them. Like a big booty, you know, and that's what it feels like. It's a big car with a big battery underneath the floor here. Speaking of which, there'll be a kind of a shorter range, more affordable version, which would be a 58 kilowatt battery. I think it's 58. And then we have this one, which is 77 kilowatt, which is a much bigger battery and much longer range. Power-wise, it feels good. It feels, you know, a useful kind of bus. I see this as a family vehicle. I really do see this as a big family car. It feels very good on the road. Everything's within my touchscreen. By the way, they can also reverse the touchscreen. So if we move the steering wheel to that side, this button will go over there. That's the beauty of a software touchscreen rather than a hardware knob thing. It's much easier on them. So if I go into a vehicle, and then I can actually go into mode here real quick and just go into comfort rather than eco, just for the buzz of it now. Just feel what that feels like under acceleration. Doing a bit of roadworks here, boys. We're doing a bit of roadworks. It's a bit hard to see out. The left hookers are a little bit harder to see out that side. Here's a fella on an electric scooter on the road. What's he doing on the road? What is that about? Anyway, we are... Oh, that's very... Oh, it's so smooth. The response is lovely. Predictable power going down to the car. Will be a four-wheel drive version of this later on in the year as well. The heads-up display is really good. Very much enjoying that. That is very necessary. The difference here between this and the Tesla ones, well, of course, that this has a speedo here in front of me and has a heads-up display out there too, rather than depending on just this screen, which I kind of like. I don't think that that single screen effect is very effective. I think we should do more with that. Speaking of range, it's impossible to say how far you're going to go on this. I'm going to show on a screen the predicted ranges of the vehicles, and I'm going to call it predicted ranges from now on, because realistically it depends very much on how you drive this car. If you drive this car mad, you will get short range. If you drive this car stably, you will get longer range. It's the same as a petrol and a diesel car. If I say to you that a petrol car could do about 500 kilometers, I wouldn't be wrong, but some people only get 300 kilometers out of it, and other people will get 600. So just depends on how you drive it. Realistically, I want to take the emphasis off range and more about having a good car in the first place, because this is, or it feels to me, like a substantially good, honest, normal car. We're going to go out in the M50 here to test a bit of normal driving. I don't expect, being a Volkswagen and tested on the Autobahns, I don't expect that this car is going to be unstable or anything at higher speeds. But I just want to see what the road noise is like. So far, it's like a tomb in here. There is no road noise. There's no nothing. It is big though. Like, it's big. It's properly sized. Like, just try a little bit of acceleration there. We can go up to 80. That's very smooth. The smoothness of these. Wow. The virtual heads, I can't even explain it. I'll see if I can get a cutaway of that virtual heads up thing, telling me how close I am to the curb in front of me. That's nothing short of genius. That's genius. I can't say better than genius. That's brilliant. Why doesn't everybody do that? I got a little light on the screen that's telling me how close the curbs are on either side. That's genius. Why? That's brilliant. Anyway, forget about that for a minute. It's telling me to take my foot off the accelerator now, because there's a roundabout coming up and it wants to regenerate the power. I don't feel a substantial regeneration facility. It's coming on now. It's predicting its own regeneration. That's very good. It's like it's gone from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 right now. That's genius. That heads-up display is amazing. That's savage. And I love that. We're going to turn the time control down a bit. I think it's a bit warm in here somehow. There we go. Bring it down to... Let's go for a nice little 19 degrees. Thanks. I turned on the radio somehow. Up the hill. It feels like I'm heavy. It feels like I've got passengers aboard already. All these electric cars do feel like that. Every one of them. Light and svelte is not their thing. They're looking for substantial. But then here I am overtaking cars as well. So there's no shortage of power, like. So we're going to get up to 100 kilometers an hour. We're going to set the active cruise control for 100. I think that does it. Yes. There we go. So we're at 100 kilometers an hour. Going to let the active cruise control do its thing right now, while we think about what Volkswagen are doing right now. So right now, Volkswagens have already said they're going to be an electric car company. End of story. Volkswagen is primarily a car company, and a professional one. One that has been a car company for many decades right now, and they know their way around making a good car. So we have the good car part in tow straight away. Now we're making their way around doing the software behind the car. So that's the next step for Volkswagen right now. That's what we're looking at right now. In here, we see good screens, very Apple, easy to read text. And then we have the big screen in the middle here where I can go into different situations. You can see I've got, it says RT Radio 1 is turned on at the moment. I have a telephone connection. I have a wireless tray in here. They've designed the car to be used the whole time, and I really do like that. Volkswagen aren't messing around. This is ID3 and now ID4, 1 year apart from one another. Not even a year really since we've seen the ID3. We only tested ID3 just middle of last year. And here we are at ID4. That heads-up display, I don't know how I'm going to show you what I'm looking at, but that is nothing short of awesome. As you're driving along, it is a virtual display. It's showing me distance to cars in front. It's showing me the white line when I get near it. It shows me the yellow line when I get near it. That is awesome. And it's so quiet in here. Could this be the best electric car in the market yet? Especially with the varieties that are coming. I mean, you'll be able to buy, when I say a more affordable version, this is the top spec one, but you'll be able to buy a more affordable version of this car as well, which will be a lot lower spec, but at least it'll get you into a big electric car that can handle your whole family and all of your stuff and tow something behind. What an awesome car. Listen how quiet it is. I have never been in a car at 100 kilometers an hour that sounds quieter than that, with 20-inch alloys. Blind spot detectors are also on the wing mirrors. I can see that one lit up over there. You can't see it because the traffic's on that side of the car. The virtual display is telling me how far away that car is in front of me, and it's slowing me down now to suit that car in front of me. It's detected it's there, but it's showing me on the virtual display what's happening all the time. That is awesome. And now it's telling me I'm too close to the transit, so a yellow light has come on to slow me down and move me back. I'm going to call it now. This is the best electric car I've driven so far. I'm anxious to get it for a whole week, longer even, just to see is this, because this is the German one, of course. This is the one that's built in Germany for the German launch. So I'm really anxious to see if this is as good as it gets, because this has been built for Germany, and the one we're going to get in Ireland is going to be like, substandard or something. But this one just feels awesome right now. Very good. Hugely commanding position that I have on the road. I can see right down across the bonnet, right across the width of the car. Absolutely awesome. And it's so quiet. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. This is our first drive of the Volkswagen ID4. Little bit tight for time, but we will get one of these on the press fleet and press rotations, and we'll see what it's really like to live with the car and charge the car and all the other stuff that we have to do to actually live with and own a car for a little bit. I'm glad you joined me for today's first drive, and you put me here. That's why we're here. You are in the front seat with me because you're a subscriber here. So in that, I hugely appreciate all the subscriptions. We're now flitting along. There are over 60,000 followers. Over on TikTok, we're over 80,000, heading for 90,000 followers now. It's been an amazing journey the last couple of years, really has, and I hope you stick around to find out where it's going, because we're going in a path. I know that much. I'm not sure where the path is going, but I'm staying on it all the time. It's been great fun having you around. I've really enjoyed this ID4. I'm going to get on and drive another few kilometers and just kind of do loops and mess around, see if I can find anything wrong with it. But so far, this is, near as makes no difference, perfection. It's very, very good. Shame they don't put games in the dashboard thing, though. I do like that in their competitors, that you can go and play video games and things when you're just parked and waiting to be charged, When you're sitting around doing nothing else, like the way to charge up the car again. Anyway, electric cars need charging. That's life. But if you charge them properly, which I've been doing with my car at home, I'm running an electric car for a year as well. So I'm charging my car in my house. I haven't used the public charge point yet. Works fine for me. This is gorgeous. Anyway, sorry, I gotta stop talking. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you've hit the subscribe button. Hopefully you've done all the things you're supposed to do, like sharing and subscribing and passing the information on to other people as well, because it's always useful when you do that. Thank you very much for watching, and until the next time, I will see you on the far side.